Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm going to do another question that I had from school, and the question was how many, and it goes write a method that counts the number of occurrences of each element in a given array. Right here, well, we have an array of strings with multiple occurrences. Um, the words in the array are case sensitive. Lowercase SUV does not equal uppercase SUV. Once counted, print each element alongside the number of occurrences. Expected output. Here's some test cases right here, or right here, rather. So for a pseudocode example, we're gonna say given an array of strings, um, iterate through each element and return a unique element with iterate through each element and return a unique element with a value of all occurrences. Okay, so that's just like simple pseudocode, but okay, we're gonna start the program, and then what do we want to do here? We're gonna save results in a new hash or an empty hash. Iterate through the hash and we'll return the element and count in a concatenated string. Okay. So let's go ahead and bring this down here so we can actually see what's going on. Okay, so we're gonna set hash to equal an empty hash. We're gonna iterate each unique element we're going to iterate each element and return a unique element with the value of all occurrences. Perfect. I don't know where all that came from. Oops. Okay. So we're going to push results to our hash. So we're going to start a program. We're going to create an empty hash. We're going to iterate through each element of our array, right? and return a unique element with a value of all the occurrences. And then we're going to push the results to our hash. What do we want to do after that? So then we want to iterate through the hash and return, boom, the element and count in a concatenated string. And then we want to what? That's it. Then we want to end. This should be iterate. I'm still working on my pseudocode. I'm not the best at it. That's why I figured this would be a good chance to practice it a little bit. I mean, this is pretty simple for doing something like this, but it's still good practice. So let's go ahead and comment all of this out, and we can get started. So we already know we need to create a method called count occurrences. And it's going to take an array, which will end up passing. So we're going to use this method call to pass this array into the method. So what we want to do is create an empty hash. We're going to call it occurrences, and we're going to set it to empty hash. Now what we want to do is we want to iterate through this. So if we were to say just like this, array.each to element, and we print the element. Let's put our end. If we were to print this right now, run this code, we're going to get every single one of them, right? What we can do is we can use a method on the array called, what do we want to do right here? We want to iterate through each element and return a unique element. So in programming language, unique means by itself, like there's no other ones like it. So we can actually call that on here. And if I go here, we can go to unique, and it'll return a new array containing those elements from self that are not duplicates, the first occurrence always being retained. So 001122, it's keeping each one of these first values. So what this is going to do for us, same thing here, A, it's pulling out each unique element, so on and so forth. So what we can do here is we can use that to our advantage. And now if we print this element, let's save it and reprint this. And now we have just the unique elements. So we need to figure out a way to save this into our hash. We don't really want to use a shovel method, so what we can do is call our hash. We're going to say occurrences, and to put our keys in, we can do element, and then if we were to, let's try to see if we just print our occurrences right now. It's an empty hash because we need to give it a value. So what we can do is we can say this is the key, and the value is going to equal our array, And what do we want to do? We want to count each one of these values. So we can actually use a method here called count for the arrays. And what count's going to do, count can take either an integer, it can take an object, it can take a block, an element from the block, which is kind of what we want to do. So we're gonna call count, and we're gonna use this element from the block. And what this is gonna do, this is going to, so right here we're counting our key, and right here we're actually counting our each value. So this is going to say, for the very first time this loops through, it's going to say car, and then it's going to equal the value to be the array.count element. So it's going to say 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the next time it loops through, this is going to change into the next one unique value, which is going to be truck. And then this is going to count truck 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth, to give us our values. If we now print our occurrences, actually let me move this one up inside our block right here, and I can kind of show you each iteration what it's doing. So the very first time around, it's adding car and 4, and then the second time truck, and then it's counting 3. SUV, it's counting it to 1, and then motorcycle, it's counting 2. So this is exactly what we want. If we move this back down outside of the block, we should be able to only get this last string right here, or the last element, or I guess the last iteration. So there we have car, 4, truck. So we have our hash built how we want, but now we need to figure out how to get into the hash and display it how we want, like this right here. So a way we can do that, since we already have occurrences and we already know occurrences contains this, we can iterate over this like we said right here. We're going to iterate through the hash and return the elements and count in a concatenated string. So we're going to say each, and we're going to do this right here, key and value. So we're going to say each do, we can say element and count, and then right here we want to put, I'm obviously not typing this out, I'm doing the lazy way, but what we're doing right here is we'll go ahead and type it out. We're putting a string, and then we are concatenating right here. We're going to use our element, which if you remember, this is our key. Don't be confused. These are two separate blocks, this block and this block. So when I'm talking about element, I'm not talking about this particular element. These are both pointing at the same object, but this is not the same. Let's actually do it like how it was in here, and to make it a little bit easier for the tutorial, we're gonna change that to key, and we'll change that to value. So right here we want to put the key, right? And this way it will change with each iteration. That's why we're concatenating instead of just writing the number itself. And then they want us to do the spaceship. So we'll make our spaceship, and now we're going to do the exact same thing for value. So this will be our value, and then that's what it wants. So if we save this now and run our code, oh, I forgot to put in my end for the block. If we run this, we get car 4, truck 3, SUV 1, motorcycle 2. Anyways, I hope I wasn't too confusing. I hope I was able to clear a couple things up. This right here, is one of the things that was really getting to me, how to go in here and manipulate this the way I wanted to. So I wanted to share this with you. Maybe try to make it little simpler to understand. But anyways, until next time, I hope you guys have a great one, and thank you for joining me.